So, hello everybody. Today we're going to do something entirely different. Today I'm going to introduce you to a very, very old video game. It's the so-called Realms of Arcania trilogy, which is based on the Dark Eye, TDE. I don't even know if it was ever released in English. I loved it in the 90s. I thought it was a really, really good implementation of a role-playing game on a computer for various reasons. And it's now available on Steam, or has been probably for a very long time, but I have not really been looking at it or doing anything with it. When I still had the original version on CD-ROM, I played the hell out of it. I played the whole trilogy multiple times, and I really, really enjoyed it. So what I'm going to do today is I am going to start playing this game. I don't know how long we will be playing it for. And this is the first part. It's called Blade of Destiny. And in Blade of Destiny, we play in an area called Torval, which is in the northwest of Aventurien. So I'm just going to show you. This is the map of Aventurien. So that's the world that the Dark Eye is set in, or the main continent that the Dark Eye is set in. There is another continent off to the south called Uturia, which is not on this map, and which has been described. There are 4 adventures, 1 campaign and 1 big adventure set there. Well, actually 5 to be precise. And then there is another continent over here to the west called Das Gödenland or Myranor. And it is actually the place that the humans that live in Aventuria came from. So they basically migrated from across the water into Aventuria, and especially the people who live in Torval. They are a lot like Vikings on Earth, and they settled here, and they come from the Gödenland, from Myranor. But that was a very, 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 very long time ago. And so basically the game today is run on a DOSBox implementation. So obviously it is a small window, and we will see what we shall see. Of course, the graphics are at this stage 30 years old, and it shows. So it's not going to be the most visually pleasant romp through Aventurien, but it's going to be, if you stick with it, a really rewarding one. Now, I don't know how long I will actually be playing this, and I don't know if I will play it through, or even if I do play it through, that I will actually stream or record it all, but we shall see what we shall see. So basically, this is the window. We've got a group of heroes: Heidrun, Cassandra, Gesine, Gangala, Shannara, and Hjeldis, and they basically represent some of the archetypes that you can find. We've got 2 Thorwalian fighters. Thorwalians are basically, I would say fighters is a good way of describing them. Viking pirates who basically invade the lands. Raping and pillaging is probably an accurate description. We've got 2 wizards. One is a healing mage, and the other one is a fighting mage. And then we've also got a druid and and that's about it. So that's what we've got. So I really love it. It's full of theme, and it's also, most importantly, full of story and full of choices. It's probably one of the best RPGs on a computer ever made. So let's get started. We shall walk around. At the moment, we find ourselves in the city of Torval, which is a very, very large city. And we don't really know what we're supposed to be doing here. So I just created a couple of heroes, and we will walk around. So as you can see, it's you use the arrow keys to walk around. So here we've, for example, got You can also use the mouse key and turn around like so. And here is a temple, and it's a temple of Swafnir. Now, Swafnir is a Thorwalian god, the only one that they've got, and it's a whale. So we can pray, we could make an offering, and we're going to pray. But unfortunately, the gods aren't listening. So we're going to leave. Also, these are the only places where you can go and save the game, as it were. So as you can see, everybody's down on life points. Let's just check why. No, they're fine. It just looks like it. Okay, so we're just going to go back. And then we're going to get started. So we are going to walk around. Now, like I said, it's not the most beautiful landscape. You can see up here how time passes. Time passing is very important. And we don't really know where we are. And you don't really know anything about the place unless you start walking around. And then you can check here on the map. And that's a very nice thing. It's auto mapping. You can see that there are houses, and the ones that are colored tell you something about them. So I don't know what this is because it's been a long time. Okay, so this is a tavern. We could go to the tavern and talk to people. We could rent a room, or we could leave. So let's just go to the tavern, and we could talk to people and say hi. So basically you enter the tavern. There are only very few guests present. The tavern, the innkeeper looks at you quickly, but then he turns back to polishing the tankards, and you sit down. And then we have different options what we can do. They are pretty much always the same, but you do get information, although the conversation openers are always identical. You say, well, I want 6 beers, or you say a round for everyone here in the pub, or you can say, well, you know, I want something to eat and drink, but I also would like some information, and that's what we're going to do. Let's see. And we basically get asked, well, before I tell you anything, wouldn't you prefer to have a beer first? And I say, yes, of course. And then since we don't know anything, so you just go into Torval and you know nothing, the first thing that you can do is just basically say, well, you know your way around this place, don't you? And they say, yes. So, for example, they tell us that in the most important, there's basically a building there. It's called the Zeughaus, which is essentially a common building where the things that belong to the community are stored. In this case, they have lots of weapons there. And we say, oh yeah, that's great information. Okay, that's super. And then suddenly it says a Thorwalian with a wearing a warrior's coat, a heavy axe, and a horn enters the inn. Listen, listen, listen. Hetman Tronde Torbenson is looking for heroes who are willing and able to go on a really dangerous quest, which may well cost their lives. But if they were successful, they would certainly get immeasurable fame and undying fame, and get a lot of money. It is important that you can use magic, but also fight. And if you think that you have everything it takes, then be quick about it and go to the Hetman in Torval. Now, Hetman and Hetfrau are titles in Torval which indicate that you're dealing with a leader of the community. So we're going to try and find Hetman Tronde Torbenson. And then somebody comes to our table and would like to buy us a drink, and we go, yes, of course. And this person says, well, innkeeper, get us something to drink. And she introduces herself as Janda Svenasdottir. So it's a woman. and we also introduce ourselves. And she tells us that there is a place called the Black Finger. It's probably a tower, and in there lives someone who's a warlock, and he won't let anyone into the house. And now she says that she needs to leave. We're leaving as well. And what we're going to do is we're going to try and find this headman person because we really need a job. So let's just keep walking. I've no idea where he actually resides because it's been a long time since I've played this, but we're just going to walk around. And this is interesting because here we reach the sea and it won't let you pass, but sometimes there are little signposts which then allow you, these are traveling posts, to go somewhere else. And I believe that there may be even a traveling post in this very house. Yeah. This is the Hjalding. This is actually a lighthouse, which we cannot enter right now. But are you? Yeah. Okay, so this is the old imperial castle. It's called Alter Uchtdalf, so Old Uchtdalf. This is where the Thorwalian warriors learn their trade. And he wants to know the password. Okay, so we don't know it, so we will just leave. But it may be that we will find out in time what the password is. So we will have to find the headman first. So now we're accosted by somebody who looks very sick and hungry, and we give him something to eat and to drink. And he asks the gods to bless us for this. Now, religion is very important in this game. In general, because unlike, let's say, our own secularized world where we are forced to either make a choice to believe in the gods, and this was one of those signposts that I was telling you about earlier, there is no question there is no question that the gods exist. So essentially, I don't know if I have to travel now. Do I really have to travel? Okay. Okay, I don't know if I can go back here or if I just killed the game because I don't really want to travel. I don't want to travel anywhere, so we're going to go back. So essentially, the gods are very real, and they have clerics that work their will and that can actually perform miracles that are visible to everybody. So it's not a question of believing in the gods or not believing in the gods. No one would disbelieve in the gods because everybody knows that they exist and you can see their works everywhere. And if you basically behave well, and if you try to live a life that is or tries to favor the gods, and you try to do their will, and charity is one of those things that they favor, you can get quite a lot of benefits, so you will be blessed and things like that. So now it's getting dark, as you can see, and usually you do need to go to bed, and if you don't eat, for example, then you will quickly die of hunger in this game, and that is actually quite serious. So this is what happens when you just walk into someone's house. So this is not somebody we can talk to, and they basically also use a weapon to tell us not to accost them anymore. So let's just go and I suppose find a bed for the night. Yeah, we want to rent a room, and we want to eat something, and we want to go to bed. I thought we had rented a room. we will sleep in a okay, and then we're gonna sleep because it's night already. Yes. Okay, so it's the next morning, and we are going to try and find that head person. Tronde. So let's see, where do we think he resides? Probably in the middle of the city. Let's see. Oh, here we can take a boat, which we don't want to do just now. I've no idea where we are. Okay, that's the north wind. Okay. This is where the local mages get trained. Okay, we found it. This is where he lives, and it says basically you can have different choices. The first one is we are the heroes that the Hetman is looking for, or we could use very colloquial German and say we are the people who what would come to talk to the Hetman about what he was asking about. Or we are very snotty and we just say, we're just going to tell the Hetman. But we're going to say, we're the heroes. Okay, so you're very self-confident, he says. And then let's go in there. Hetman Tronde. So one of the persons, one of the basically guards brings us in, and we are introducing ourselves, but he basically interrupts us and says, let's dispense with all of the formalities, and you believe that you can survive for many months in the wild to bring something back of which we don't even know what it is. Okay, well then, here's your job. So he explains to us that Torval is in danger. There are orcs that are forming an army in the upper Bordir Valley. Now, the Bordir is and I think I can show you, the Bordir is a river. And it looks like this time round the orcs have a common leader. Now, it is important to notice that in TDE, the orcs are pretty much always evil. Pretty much like they are in The Lord of the Rings. But they are also spread out across their own lands, and they form different groups, different tribes, and the tribes don't unite, except for a couple of times when somebody managed to unite them, and then they stormed across Aventuria and actually destroyed many cities and towns and killed thousands. So this time around it's dangerous again because somebody seems to be leading them. And if our prophecies are not wrong, then this time around it's going to be many thousands. We need to stop this. And we need to ensure that the orcs don't make it to Willenheim, because then, if this happens, there will be war. And I have, so Hetman Tronde continues that he has been reading the old legends, and he has come to the conclusion that the best way of stopping all of this is to impress the orcs, and basically whoever is leading them and show them what they would have to deal with if they were to try and kill and or invade Aventuria. And if they're going to do this, then everything will be terrible. And he says we need to really impress them, but he doesn't have anyone else who can do it. And usually you would go with magic, but of course there are no magic users that he can summon at the moment. And those that would be powerful enough are on the wrong side, because they would be possibly black magicians who follow the nameless one. So we need a different method. And he says that there is a weapon which has been lost for several score years in the Auckland. It is Grimring, so that's the name of the sword, and it belonged to Hetman Hügelik, whose expedition into the Aucklands never returned. And somewhere in the Auckland there must be his grave, and there probably is the sword as well. And it's said that the orcs were so afraid of the weapon back then that their shaman decided to leave the weapon there and did not desecrate the tomb. But they remember the sword, and they will be so afraid of the sword that if we have the sword, we will be able to impress them. And now the question is, will we take this? And yes, we will, but we do have a couple of questions. And he says, well, he can give us a letter of recommendation, which allows us to get some weapons in the Zeughaus. And he also tells us that there is, and this is something that we need to write down, because this is a pen and paper role-playing game that has been turned into a computer game. So there is quite a lot of information that is dispensed to the players while playing, and you really need to keep track of what's happening. Otherwise, you will really not be able to get very far. So it says here that there is a man named Isleif Olgardsson, and he lives in Feldstein. And he seems to be a direct descendant of Hügelik. And that's what we're going to try and do. We're going to go to Feldstein. So let's see what we can do. Okay, so I'm going to show you where the Bordir is. The Bordir is up here. This is the Bordir Valley, and they are amassing up here in the Auckland in the upper Bordir Valley, so northeast of Fexcare. So that's where they are. Okay, so let's get cracking then. We know where we need to go. Let's take a further look. Where is Feldstein? And Feldstein is up here. Okay, so we actually need to go north. So what we're going to do is we are going to do some traveling, just because of course we've been playing for a while now and you haven't really seen anything of the game. So we need to go, we want to go north essentially. And to be more precise, we need to go northeast. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the east. So let's see how we can leave the city to go northeast. And here is a traveling post. And let's see where this will take us. Now, how do I travel again? So yeah, I know where we are and I would like to leave. Okay. Okay, we can go to the we can either go back or we can go to the ferry dock at Tjoila, and that's where we're going to go. So as you can see, as we travel, time passes, and now it really becomes important to rest as well. So now it tells us that we are tired. So what we're going to do is we're going to start hunting, and we're going to send Shannara hunting. Shannara finds water, and she can find something to eat. Then we're going to get someone to ensure that we set watches, and then we're going to go and sleep. And we're going to keep going. And this is the ferry station. And here is another. And we want to cross to Tjoila. And he tells us that we need to pay, but he also doesn't have that many people to travel. So, and he says, I will have to wait for more people. And we just wait. And we wait 5 hours, and then he has more people, and you cross. And now we are in Tjoila, which is a very small place. Very small indeed. And it seems to be terribly boring. Okay, there is a guy who tells us that he knows where the Blade of Destiny is hidden. And he tells us that the blade is deep in our hearts. That's good to know, because then we can just rip out our hearts and be done with it. So let's just so since it's a bit annoying to have to open every single door to check what's inside, what I usually do is I just walk around like this around every single house, because that basically reveals to me on the map what we can see here and what is in those houses. So this one should be a tavern. No, it's actually not. Well, it is a tavern, but we can't sleep here, and we need to sleep indoors as well, because if you don't, then you're more likely to catch diseases which can be really deadly. This is not the most deadly of the three, but there is, I think it's the second one, where basically just walking around for like 5 seconds outside makes you sick and you die. Okay, so let's just have something to eat. And let's go to sleep. Yeah, we're going to rent a room. And we're going to stay a night, one night only, because we don't really want to stay in this place. And we're going to go and go to sleep. And that's it. Something we didn't do was we didn't save the game. That's a bit problematic, because we've been doing lots since we last saved. So let's see, maybe there is. Okay. Let's see, did we overlook a... No, there isn't a single Do we want to go to Breda? No, we don't. We want to go north. No, okay, in that case we are going to go to Breda because I do want to at least fight once, because I mean I do like to fight. It's what makes this game fun as well. So let's see, we're gonna go to Breda. Aha! And now you can see how fighting works. As you can see, it is let's see if and she hits him with 5 and she actually kills him. It's a goblin. Let's see what we can do. Okay, okay, she wants to move and she's going to move here. And then she's going to hit this guy. So I really like this fighting because because it allows you to play tactically. So what is she going to do? She has Daimonology. Or does she? Zaubern. Okay, that's not what we want. Yeah, okay. This guy's leaving. Okay. Let's see what she can do. She is a fighting mage. Okay, she's got quite a lot. She's got Fulminictus, Ignifaxius, Plumbumbarum, Saft, Kraft, Scharfes Auge. Yeah, well, no, she's not gonna do anything. She's gonna guard. She's gonna guard. And she's gonna attack. She's gonna... wait. She's gonna wait. She's gonna attack. This one's leaving. He's had enough, clearly. She's gonna move. She's gonna guard. She's gonna move over here. And she's gonna move one more. And then she's going to guard. She's gonna move. Oh no, that's not what we wanted. We're gonna go back. And we're gonna attack this guy. We're gonna wait. She's gonna wait. She's gonna do the same thing that she did before. She's gonna move. She's gonna guard. Guarding. Guarding. Do the same thing she did before with 5. She's gonna move in here. And she's going to attack this guy. Normally. And we're gonna wait. We're gonna... And we have 1. And we get 24 adventure points. So we're gonna go to... Shannara is gonna go and find some food. She doesn't find any water. But she can find some food. And then we're going to okay, we're gonna spend some time and we're gonna go to sleep. And we're also now regenerating. We keep going. And we're in Breda. And hopefully we will find a temple there because I really would like to save. Breda is quite a big city. Well, it's a town, but still. They may have a temple here. Let's hope they do. Yes. Okay, it's a temple of Travia. Travia is always depicted as a goose, and she is the goddess of hearth and home. And we're going to save, and we're going to call it... And that's it for today.